sports fan? This is Steven here for JustMyPicks.com, and I'm bringing you the game of the week in the NFL. Broncos taking on the Seahawks. But before I get right into that, I want to make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel so we can get this to you each and every week for all the breaking news, for all the breakdowns of each and every game, each and every week. So go ahead and subscribe right now, and I'm hopping right into it right now. This is a rematch of the Super Bowl from last season. As we know, the Seahawks, a very physical team, put the Broncos on their back and walked right over them. In this football game, we have one team that's undefeated, 2-0 Broncos, taking on the 1-1 Seahawks. What happened last week to the Seahawks? They got smacked in the mouth by Phillip Rivers. He went to Richard Sherman and he challenged him. A lot of those passes, they may have not been completions, but what they did was they singled out Richard Sherman and they threw the ball all across the field. They spread that defense out. They had a couple of run plays, but for the most part, Antonio Gates went to work. They went to work on those boys on the Seattle Seahawks, and that defense got stingy of the San Diego Chargers. As I talked about last week, the defense for that team is very underrated for the Chargers. They have some hitters. Eric Weddles is a hitter, hard-hitting. These guys can play football flat out. I thought it was going to be a close game last week with the Seahawks pulling it out. I was wrong. But now, in this football game, you have to look at it. You have to look at the Denver Broncos wanting revenge. They want that taste out of their mouth of losing a Super Bowl. You probably won't get it out your mouth winning a regular season game unless it's a rematch in the Super Bowl. But you have to look at the Seahawks as wanting to get off that losing streak, that one-game losing streak that they're on right now. Pete Carroll's going to have his boys fired up. It's going to be in Seattle. So you know it's going to be the 12th man pumped up. He's going to have excitement everywhere in the stadium. It's going to be the Seahawks and versus Broncos, the rematch of the Super Bowl. But when it comes down to this football game, there's still the sheriff called Peyton Manning. And that guy named Peyton Manning, he's coming to play in Seattle. He's coming to do damage in Seattle. So what you have to think about, all those things that Richard Sherman said and all those things about what they said about Peyton Manning, oh, he was scared and things like that. Well, that same guy that you talked about in the Super Bowl and after the Super Bowl, you have to kind of like play him again. So Demaryius Thomas, I think he's going to step up. I think that Thomas, the tight end, is going to step up. I think that you're going to see a large dose of Monty Ball in this football game, running the football. I think that Emmanuel Sanders is a big upgrade. While you don't have Wes Welker, Emmanuel Sanders has a lot more speed than Wes Welker. He can get down the field faster and blow the top off that defense. Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas will not be able to just sit and wait anymore, because now the Broncos know what to do. They know that they can do double moves. They know that they can go and send Emmanuel Sanders down the field and get those safeties to go as far back as they need them to be in this offensive line. They didn't have Ryan Clady last year when they played the Super Bowl, who went out early with an injury. They have Ryan Clady now. So I'm looking at the Denver Broncos and saying, it's not the Super Bowl. It may not be the type of revenge that you want as far as it being the big game, but what I will say is the Denver Broncos has what it takes, and I'm choosing them to win this football game. I know the cliche, defense wins championships, but we're not in the playoffs. Offense wins this game all day long, and I'm looking for DeMarcus Ware on the defense to really play a big part on this. He wants some of the action. I know that Von Miller, he wants some of that action. You know, Aqib Talib wants some of that action on defense. And you know TJ Ward wants some of that defense. So the Denver Broncos are going to be pumped. They're going to be stoked. They're going to be ecstatic. And it's time. It's time for this rematch to happen. You got two heavyweights, and this is going to be a lot, because if the Seahawks lose this game, it's going to open the floodgates. They're going to look like, oh, well, is this defense really for real? Is Richard Sherman really a shutdown corner? So you're going to hear a lot of this talk throughout the week. And Peyton Manning, as you all know, he's the machine. He's going to get the job done. It's not going to be pretty, but you do have Percy Harvin on the offense and Marshawn Lynch of the Seahawks. We're not just going to walk over the Seahawks. It's going to be very competitive. But I think that Peyton Manning wants to prove a point. He wants to prove a point that, you know, he did have a bad game against the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, but it wasn't just his fault. So I'm picking the Broncos to win this in a very close game. I think this will come down to Peyton Manning on the last possession, driving the Broncos down to score. It may be a low-scoring game. I'm thinking about 21-27, that type of form of fashion. But I think that this game is going to be a measuring stick for the rest of the NFL. Do I really match up to the Broncos that well, or do I really match up to the Seahawks that well? And it's going to be a lot of hits in this football game, because both these defenses can hit. Both these defenses have improved since last year. So that's my breakdown of the Broncos taking on the Seahawks. Also, check me out at JustMyPicks.com for all the breaking news. Also, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click it right now. Go ahead and subscribe, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Subscribe right now so you can get all the breakdowns of the NFL news that we have, all the previews for each game each week, and so we can debate with you and your sports friends. Also, go to Facebook. Check us out in the search engine, Just My Picks. Go ahead and like our Facebook page so we can debate with you each and every week. Like I said, we're on each and every week. You're going to get breakdowns and a lot of great content, a lot of great debates each and every week. So, you want to be a bigger part of the Just My Picks team? Go ahead, debate with us. We can pick you up. So, this has been my breakdown of the Broncos taking on the Seahawks. Check us out next week. Thank you very much for week 4.